If you're starting out in environmental auditing, you may hear the terms first party, second party or third party auditing. What do these terms mean and what are their differences? Let's take a look. Welcome to EMSmastery, where we give you the strategies and tactics to master environmental management and sustainability. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Andrew Marlow. This episode will look at what is meant by the terms first party, second party or third party auditing. In the world of environmental management, there are many different names for the different types of audits. So many, in fact, that the categories can become confusing. Add to this the fact that several titles for audits can mean the same thing, and you have a recipe for misunderstanding that can cause uncertainty for many people. Here is an explanation that can help. In environmental management, there are three main categories of audits, which depend on the relationship between the auditor carrying out the audit and the auditee, the person being audited. These are called first party, second party or third party audits. So let's look at each one of these types of audits in turn. First party audits are often called internal audits. This is an audit where someone from within the organisation itself will audit a process or set of processes in the environmental management system to ensure that it meets the procedure that the company has specified. In terms of Note 1 of the definition of an audit in ISO 19011-2018, internal audits, sometimes called first-party audits, are conducted by or on behalf of the organisation itself. A first-party audit can be carried out by a person who is an employee of the organisation or someone contracted by the organisation to carry out the internal audit, such as an environmental consultant. The important issue to note is that the person is acting on behalf of the company rather than as a customer or a third party such as a certification body. This type of audit is focused not only on whether the organisation's processes meet the requirements of a standard such as ISO 14001-2015, but all the procedures that the organisation has set for itself. The audit will look at problem areas where processes do not align with each other, opportunities for improvement, and the overall effectiveness of the environmental management system. By design, these audits can and should be much more in-depth than the other types of audits we're going to discuss in this episode, since it is the best way for the organisation to identify its own areas of improvement. Typical names for first-party audits are internal audit, internal EMS audit, operational audit, and incident audits. You can find further useful information about first-party audits in ISO 19011. A second-party audit is when an organisation with a pre-existing relationship, such as a customer, performs an audit of a supplier to ensure that they are meeting the requirements, such as those that might be specified in their mutual contract. In terms of the Note 2 to the definition audit in ISO 19011-2018, external audits include those called second-party audits, where second-party audits are conducted by parties having an interest in the organisation, such as customers, or by other individuals on their behalf. These requirements may include special control over certain processes, requirements for pollution prevention or compliance evaluation, requirements for specific documentation, and any other requirements that are of special interest to that customer. These audits can be done on-site by reviewing the processes, or even off-site by reviewing documents submitted by the supplier. The customer can audit all or parts of the contract depending on the needs of that customer. It is important to understand that a second-party audit is between the customer and the supplier and has nothing to do with becoming ISO 14001 certified. It was thought that second-party audits would not be necessary once an organisation is certified to ISO 14001 by a certification body, but this is not necessarily true. Even if you're certified by a third-party audit, your customers may still want to perform a second-party audit to look at elements of their contract, especially if these elements are not the same as the requirements of ISO 14001. Typical names for second-party audits are supplier audit, contract audit, compliance audit, due diligence audit, external interested party audit. You can find further useful information about second-party audits in ISO 19011. A third-party audit is when an external organisation, the third party, undertakes an audit of an organisation where that external organisation has no direct relationship with the auditee organisation, that is, the organisation being audited. In terms of the Note 2 to the definition of an audit in ISO 19011-2018, third-party audits are conducted by independent auditing organisations, such as those providing certification or registration of conformity or government agencies. The most recognised third-party audit is where an organisation has decided that it wants to create an environmental management system that conforms to the standard set of requirements such as ISO 14001-2015, and then they contract with an independent certification body to perform an audit to confirm that they meet those requirements. Typical names for third-party audits are certification audit, which can be broken down into initial audit, which can be stage 1 and stage 2, surveillance audit, and recertification audit. Accreditation assessments, pre-acquisition audits, due diligence audits, and statutory, regulatory and other similar audits fall into this category. You can find further useful information about third-party audits in ISO 19011, and for certification body audits you should take a look at ISO IEC 17021 Part 1. As a useful reference, I have compared first-party, second-party and third-party audits from the organisational perspective. As we can see, the organisation has control over all aspects of a first-party audit. It can choose the auditor, it can choose itself to be the auditee, it can choose the standards that will be used for the audit, and the audit report and outcome are not released outside of the organisation. Compare this with a second-party audit, where the auditor is an external organisation that has a relationship with the auditee and will use its own standards, whether this is a contract or other form of standard requirements, and the audit report and outcome will be known between these two organisations. For third-party audits, there is no formal relationship with the auditor other than they are paid to conduct the audit. The standards are external, such as ISO 14001, and the audit report and outcome are known to the third party. I hope that this episode has given you insight into understanding the meaning and differences of first, second and third party audits. If you want further information on these three different types of audit, and the documents referenced in this episode, this information is given in the description box below, including a link to the resources on the EMSmastery.com website. If you have any questions on first, second or third party audits, please leave a comment below. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel to ensure that you don't miss out on other episodes on environmental management and sustainability. Until then, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, you can watch other episodes by clicking on the boxes in the top and bottom right, and to subscribe to this channel, click on the link to the left. Thank you.